What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 77 of Unfiltered. I'm ChanManV. These guys are Richard Lewis and Destiny. And got lots of great topics for you guys.
This is a... Who writes this shit?
Fuck you, dude.
Who writes this stuff? In NA, where there's a regional sport tradition of avoiding ties, we chose to implement the best of three.
Yeah, dude, come
But
on.
in Europe...
All right, so, okay. So
Hold the fucking phone, dog.
all right, so I mean...
Hold the phone, dog.
That's all right. Let's go.
We obviously saw this change in LCS format. That's what we're kind of talking about right off the get-go. But we'll get to that. We'll kick it off with that.
Are they gonna start throwing like a soccer ball around, like in the fucking LCS, like between like ganks or some shit? You have to go and like score a goal because it's a European tradition. What is this? What the fuck?
Wait. We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, we'll go. Yeah, we're not there.
I just want to remind you guys that today is our last day for t-shirts, so that's why we got our goals here. We're obviously not very close to our goals, so this is the last day, literally the last day to get the t-shirts. So buy the t-shirts if you want them, because they're not going to be available for much longer. And if we reach 100, what should we do, guys? I mean, I figured we should probably figure out something.
Probably should have figured it out before the last day, man.
I tried to, I'm like uncreative that way. So
I hope you're not teaching your children this kind of life lesson that it's okay to leave things to the last minute.
Did I not plug this shit before?
That's not going to serve them well in later life.
Did I not plug this shit before? I mean,
were you the guy in college who has like grandparents dying like multiple times so that you could get extensions on papers? Were you that guy that had it so that the school policy was unless you could bring like a death certificate, it wouldn't actually allow the excuse to stand? It was because of you?
Yeah, and I had my bots like do that for me too. Is that the deal?
Yeah, exactly. You see,
I'm seeing a trend now.
Is that the deal?
You are a guy. And now it's really weird because I was always brought up to believe that your people were an industrious people.
Steven, your mic is way too loud again. I don't know what you're doing.
What do you do to me, dog?
I don't know what the hell. Just turn your mic down again.
Okay, but the last time I did it, it turned down to nothing. I feel like you're fucking with my shit just to like make my shit sound bad.
No, I think you're fucked up, dude. You're totally fucked up.
All right, how does my mic sound now? Is it okay?
Okay, yeah, it's better. Now you can yell, man. Now you can yell all you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyways, last chance for the t-shirts, guys. And it's got a lot of topics. We're not going to do call-ins today, though. We're going to do just normal viewer Q&A because I don't have my screener here today. And I tried doing call-ins for Value Town without Wars here to screen them. And holy shit, that was terrible. That was just like absolutely terrible. So,
welcome to my world.
Welcome to your world.
Right, okay. When I do trash talk, man, you've just got to embrace that anything can happen. We've had people come on and talk about Thorin's dick. We've had people come on and they're like high as shit, and you just got to roll with the punches, dude.
Oh man. Anyways, we're not doing it this week. We'll do it again next week. And speaking of next week, we're gonna have our holiday episode coming up, and you know what holiday episode means, guys. That means getting drunk and doing and having a bunch of whoever guests want to come on the show, all that kind of good stuff. Hopefully I'll have some giveaways and stuff too to do for patrons and subs and all that good stuff too. What? Fuck you.
I'm sorry. No, it's good.
Fuck you.
He's laughing at the riot.
Okay, I was like,
this is so.
I know, dude. Dog. You gotta hold it in, man.
What you like the stereotypical
right?
like stupid American like? Well, they have in football over there. They had sometimes the best of two. So maybe for our esports, we'll just have a totally different format than any. This is like the dumbest thing I've ever read in my entire life. I didn't actually believe this.
Oh my god! All right.
There's no way. Sorry, keep going on. What was her?
Okay, so holiday episode coming up next week. Steven's going to be at Home Stories. We're going to have to plan around him going to Home Stories. So the actual day you'll have to obviously keep an eye out on Twitter for that. But yeah, we'll be doing that. We're doing some giveaways. We're just doing fun shit. You know, it's just Christmas. You know how it goes, all that good stuff. But okay, let's kick things off. Let's talk about the latest news that's just been, I guess, broken. Probably just like within the hour. New LCS format, and this is a trip. I'm just seeing it too for the first time. So
yeah, literally it broke while I was already doing another show. So like in terms of like all I've got to do is read through it once, and I'm still kind of a little bit fucking stunned. Actually, I don't know Is it as retarded as I think it is?
I mean, okay, no, let's explain.
Implications for this. Like, imagine if you sponsor like an EU team, and now your team only plays in a best of 2 instead of a best of 3.
Let's explain
already,
it.
Like behind NA and viewership, like there's all these things. It's just so stupid.
Okay, let's explain it first. All right, so it sounds like the biggest change. It says we'll be taking a big step in the summer splits with an NA LCS shifting to a double best of 3 format. So that's NA. And then EU will transition to a double best of 2 format. So what the hell is a best of 2 format?
Right. So a best of 2 format is going to be. It's where basically you play 2 games so you can have a draw potentially.
Okay.
You don't have to have a winner in a best of 2.
Europeans are okay with draws, though. Okay.
Yeah, because as Riot have stated very intelligently in this article, in Europe we're just so enlightened. Victory isn't important.
It's like the dumbest. This is like impossibly stupid.
No.
Yeah.
This is like when they made this. Reminds me of the guy that wrote the article when they made the arguments for like practicing should only happen by playing full games, and we don't want people to feel like they're required to practice before playing ranked games because of toxicity. Or that's why they wouldn't add. That was their arguments against adding sandbox mode. Is this actually like really written? Can you link the article so people don't think we're just making this up?
No, I think I did link it right now.
This is like some shit where like Richard Lewis would say, like Richard, like come on, dude. I know you hate Riot, but they didn't actually.
I know.
Come on, dude. Like what?
All right, best of 2 shares some consistencies with best of 1 formats, but offers the chance of adaptation between games, which helps you prep for international competitions.
Right, dude. The best bit. Okay, here's the best bit. I'll read the specific section where the retardation reaches critical mass. Oh, great! Check this out. So. Why do EU and NA have different formats? Why not choose the better format and have both leagues use it? To which Riot reply, as we discussed formats with the League Ops team from both regions, we came up with pros and cons for both best of 2 and best of 3 formats. Both regions agreed that best of 1 no longer served our best interests, and given the pros and cons of both best of 2 and best of 3, we decided to try out both and leave ourselves open to pivot in the future. Given the prevalence of best of 2 in many European sports leagues, specifically soccer, sorry, we mean football, we decided to implement best of 2 format in a region where ties are both understood and accepted in sports culture. In NA, where there's a regional sport tradition of avoiding ties, we chose to implement best of 3. We're honestly not sure which format will be better. We're going to be monitoring a variety of levers throughout the transition, and we'll review at the end of the 2016 season. The idea that these guys who have harped on so much about the importance of like having everything consistent and under the fucking Riot umbrella, and so it all makes sense, and trying to address disparity between regions, taking one regional format and making it like arguably more fucking difficult, and then having another one that's like, you know, fucking easier, but then it's like it's okay because maybe you get draws. What the fuck is going on, dog? And they're saying it's based on culture.
Soccer balls. You guys are okay with the best. This is unbelievable.
This is actually unbelievable.
This is actually like unbelievable.
This is really unbelievable.
The whole thread is filled with like really funny comments. TLDR, Riot, fuck you, LOL. Like this whole thing is like, this is actually like impossibly fucking hilarious.
I mean, look, here's the thing as well, right? So what happens when you get to Worlds?
I know, right?
What happens with that format? Do we have an
best
in the interest of fairness?
Well, no, if there's an NA team versus an NA team, they would play the best of 3.
That'd be best.
NA versus EU would be like a first 2 or whatever. Because like if the Europeans win like 1 game, then they would call it because draws are okay. And then if it's EU versus EU, we just play a fucking best of 1 and call it a draw all the time anyway. Because Europe's don't really like to win.
I mean, the idea that as well, like, we're like, hey, who needs a victim, man? We can all be winners in Europe. Like, with just some fucking. I just can't even believe.
I can't believe
how
it
exciting.
Either.
I mean, like, let's be real. Like, if you honestly, like, to not meme or whatever, like, if we look at how games seriously go, like, if you really look at how, like, tournament games go, if you're playing, like, a best of 3, after they've both played 1 game and it's, like, 1-1, it's pretty boring to watch at that point anyway. Do you really care who wins the series? Or like even like best of fives, like if it's 2-2, do you really care who wins the series? Or in best of sevens when it's 3-3? Like it's not like those are the most exciting moments. Like I mean, like honestly, like do you actually care who wins the series? Like I don't. I usually just watch it until it's right. Like it's until it's 1-1. It's like when you masturbate, you stop like right before you orgasm. Like I do that fucking time. Or like weeks on end. It's like the best shit ever, right? Like why would you actually finish anything?
No, but I agree with you there, Destiny. I just want my hand and my penis to have a good time. No one needs.
So your
to come
hand
out
and your
on
penis
top.
will have a tie. It's
Yeah,
tie
that's
there?
what they do. They have a tie.
Wow.
That's how I like it, man. So yeah, no, this is an absurd situation, and it's like, okay, again, to be serious for a moment, ignoring
How can we be serious?
all of the problems it brings up with
serious.
Riot, whose watchwords have been competitive integrity for so fucking long. They use it to justify everything they do. Obviously, there is a very obvious impact on that. But here's what I would say. The best of two formats coming to NA, if you look at what's been happening in Korea recently and how they're going to bring the broadcast in like to one package deal, you know, they're moving away from like OGN, who've lost their exclusive broadcasting rights. I almost wonder if two things are being served here. First, they're using Europe as a testing ground to see whether this format will work and whether the audience will understand it and like it. And of course, the other problem is it's EU who's got to fucking change to something that they can talk about the best of two format all they want. We've never used this before. I've been following esports for how long? I had to explain to you motherfuckers what best of two was.
Has there in any esport? I can't remember. In CSGO, Hearthstone, StarCraft, even in 1.6, I can't ever remember the little bit I saw in Brood War. Has there ever been a best of two format ever in history?
Why would you ever do that?
Has it ever happened?
No.
Not even. And we haven't even talked. I'm sorry, I didn't even notice.
It's my bad. It's China. Sorry, it's the
Chinese.
Chinese
Actually, it's the start. Yeah, some guy says China.
League might do
I said Korea and I meant China. So it's the Chinese region.
Oh,
and obviously
we know
how they've made. Okay. We know how they've made great strides to sort of bring the Chinese broadcast in under one roof. And I just wonder if what they're doing is because the Chinese region is going to be the last territory they can really expand now. That's going to be the place where they can start making more money, start doing more things. So I just wonder if they're taking the region that they feel they can have more expansion into, you know, and kind of trying to see whether it'll take to other regions. It kind of feels like an experiment. And I think when you do it, when you're using an already established region to experiment on, I think that's hugely disrespectful. And yes, Sir Scoots is in the chat and he's right. We did it once at Gfinity in Counter-Strike, but we didn't do it because it was optimal or because we needed to experiment. We did it because we had a last-minute snafu when we ended up with too many teams in attendance to what had been planned for. So we needed to come up with a format that would shave some games off.
Right, that's different. That's when you're like having to, you know, do some makeshift things to make.
I like how when you look at the schedule too, like this is like the ultimate, like we don't give a fuck about Europe. The European games are usually on Thursday, on Friday, and then the NA games are overlapping on Friday, I think, and then you've got Saturday and Sunday, all best of three. Holy shit.
Yep.
That's crazy. So are there going to be any other teams trying to swap from NA to EU because of the
funny part to me isn't necessarily that Riot does like really retarded fucking things. It's that like sometimes it feels like Riot is do you ever, you know, like when you see like those parents that tell their kids something and then when the kid asks why, they give like this retarded reasoning, but they know that because the kid is like 2 years old, like he'll believe it. I feel like Riot does that sometimes. Like when they do something really dumb, like the rationale that they put out for it is just so mind-bogglingly fucking stupid. Like nobody can possibly, like, how do you write that? That like, well, we're not sure which format is better, so we just wanted to try them both out. So we just happened to give a region that doesn't get as good of a viewership Thursday, Friday, and best of two slots while we stick with the traditional tried and true for the NA on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Like, why would you write something like that? Like, well, we weren't sure which is better and we want to remain open to change. Like, why would you even put something that fucking stupid? Why would you write, since the Europes love poverty ball, and in soccer you have best of twos, we figure that they all want to watch, but why would you even put something that fucking stupid?
Yeah, like, why not just say we're experimenting on the region?
Exactly.
Why not
just do that?
At the very least, like, that could even be, like, yeah, just leave it at that. Fuck, but, like...
I mean, if you really wanted to sell it, you could be like, look, we think this could be the optimal way to play, so we're choosing EU to pioneer this method. Whatever the fuck. If you really need to sell it like that. Don't sell it by saying, "Hey, you Euro fags, fucking so
you're used to ties.
You accept defeat so readily in a way no red-blooded American ever would. We're gonna be all right with fucking draws, motherfucker." Because that just makes no sense. That ain't true. That isn't true. Football has penalty shootouts.
They do.
In crunch games. Yeah, in the league season, we're happy with a draw, but when games fucking matter, we want a fucking resolution as any other sports person. I ain't never heard so fucking.
What's a shoot? Wait. What's a shootout in league?
The best thing. This sentence is the best thing I've ever read from Riot, I think, in my entire life. This tops the sandbox explanation. We decided to implement best of 2 format in a region where ties are both understood and accepted in sports culture. Yeah. I know, but that's just reading that. That's the best sentence I think.
Yeah.
So, all right, here's the question: what's going to be the shootout for League of Legends?
Fuck knows,
They're gonna play an ARAM, just to break ties eventually.
Well, mate, it couldn't get more retarded. You may as well
maybe
have
they could bring in the Queen's Guard to have a shootout, since British people, I guess, are used to seeing the Queen's Guard in certain spots of the UK. I don't know, maybe what's some more uniquely European shit? I don't fucking know, man. What?
Everyone picks Blitzcrank and they all get 1 HP and they all have to meet in the middle and whoever lands the hooks until there's one Blitz standing. I fuck knows. They couldn't make it any more fucking retarded. But look, I want to point something out. This is another serious thing. A lot of people for a long, long time have talked about Riot having this fucking NA bias, and I'll tell you on what this is predicated on. It's predicated on the fact that when you make decisions in any other region, it all has to go through the HQ in North America. They recently made this change that any broadcasting standards and talent and everything has to go through the NA region as well. Everything goes through NA. This is why you end up with these wildly inconsistent disciplinary decisions where it seems like, in fact, I know of players who've been told by Riot EU, don't worry, it's going to be a very short suspension, a ban, or a small fine, or whatever. And then Riot NA get involved. They veto that decision, and then they say, "Nah, you're banned for a year. Get fucked." Right? And this has been ongoing, where basically even other regions of Riot have to kowtow to Riot NA. Now, a lot of people have been talking about changes in the metagame and how that's going to benefit NA. Well, let's just look at this. What have they done this week? They've dismantled the Korean scene.
We're getting to that. We're going to get to that.
Yeah, but it's not just in broadcasting terms. Obviously, there's other issues there. There was also there's this SKT1 app, which is a bit like a LOL King and stuff, and they had an official licensing partnership there, and it had all of this pro builds and the pro stats and all of that going on there. Everybody used it. Well, Riot have also refused to re-sign a contract that will enable them to use their API and stuff.
Wow.
So there's all of that going on. Yeah, there's just
wait, just SKT can't use their API for that?
Well, I think it was the SKT thing. Obviously, I think it's going to apply to everybody else. It just implies that they're doing what they've always done, which is someone gets a really cool idea, grows something, makes it popular, then Riot say you can't do that anymore. They take it and make their own watered down, piss weak, ineffective version. That's what they do. But anyway, so on top of that, right, you're giving. You take the European region and you make them play a format they've never played before and which will not be used at Worlds. If anything,
it's not going to be used at Worlds.
Right,
no
it will not be used at Worlds. And then you give North America all this time to play best of threes, which is its series that they failed at. Right, so you can see how a fucking conspiratard might come to the conclusion that this was all about trying to give NA a pop because it would be in Riot's best interest if they could perform better at Worlds because they just come out of Worlds where they got absolutely fucking long dicked. So I don't know, man. This is this is mind blowing stupidity here.
Yeah, so I guess we'll see how this goes. So I didn't actually know that China was using it. So there's at least at least there's some precedent.
In my mind, I fucking said Korea, but I didn't mean China.
Yeah. It's been some precedent for it, but I still can't believe that they're doing this. It's just be consistent. My goodness. I know each region can be their own type of their own set of things. We've seen that in different esports too. For instance, StarCraft, right? Each region is pretty. NA and EU are pretty similar, but Korea is obviously very different, and even in the format they use. So we've seen it in other things, but never in LCS, and this just doesn't make sense. This is like somebody had some just crazy idea and brought it to the table, and people actually listened for some dumb reason. So we'll see what happens with this. But you did bring up Korea, and Korea is something that I wanted to talk about last week, but it's kind of good that we waited until this week because more stuff came out in the last 7 days in pertaining to it. But yes, the OGN, Spo TV, Riot, Kespa, craziness. Hold on, let me change the title here.
Yeah, you do that. I know Steven's got some fucking shit to say about this because this all ties in, by the way. I mean, Steven's prophesized, the growth of League of Legends in Korea for a long time and had his finger on the pulse where nobody else did.
Whoa, come on.
Not nobody else.
Everybody saw League. A lot of people saw League is growing huge. League has been ahead of the other games for a long
There
time.
was some people rejecting the notion that what you were supposing about it taking over all of the resports was correct, though.
Oh, maybe like 3 years ago on the StarCraft.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That was like being the head of the Downey class or whatever. Like,
So, but I mean, look. So this is. I think the first thing to say here is that again, in whoever works in Riot's PR department, they've got to be fired. They've got to be fired. They do not understand the basic mechanics of PR. PR is where you take something you're doing for very business, selfish reasons, and you frame it in a way that people can get on board with. That's effectively, in a nutshell, the art of good PR. Well, what they did here was they said, "We're doing this because, quote." It's part of our long-term plan to legitimize esports, as if the Korean community and people like Kespa and OGN weren't achieving that goal.
Well, let's explain a little. Let's just give a quick background. This maybe some people that don't know what's going on. Basically, OGN, right? OGN's been running. They created the League of Legends Champions Korea, right? That league, and it's been very successful. This is the same league that Monte Cristo and Doa and Papa, they all cast for, right? Everybody, the English cast, for Korea, everybody knows this. But recently, right, Spo TV, or at least Riot, has given rights to half of the broadcast. Basically, there's 2 days right now, splitting the days, between OGN. They've given half of it to Spo TV, which is a company that's very well known for and being successful at broadcasting on TV, esports, right? And so Spo TV is obviously bigger than OGN, I believe, right? Spo TV is bigger company, right? Like, maybe not, but Spo TV is a very, very well-known company and successful company. So Riot's going to basically give them half of it. And the issue right now is that the broadcasters, for instance, right? There's other issues, but one of the things that people are talking about is that Monte Cristo and Doa, they're contracted to OGN, and it's not like these people can cast one day with OGN and then cast one day with Spo TV and be able to do that just being able to have a consistent casting thing. No, it's not going to be like that. Basically, OGN's going to with the product that they've created with the LCK is going to be doing what they do, and then all of a sudden Spo TV can do just whatever they want with their days, and from the standpoint of casters and the production and everything like that. So obviously OGN feels really shitty about it because they created this product, they did all the development for this product and the marketing and everything, and then now Riot just comes in here and just says, hey, we actually own the right, this is our game and we can we control this, so we want Spo TV to basically have half the broadcast. And that's the situation they're in right now, and arguing and disputing. Kespa's kind of in the middle in a weird way, but it's funny because a lot of people are blaming Kespa for all this. But then Kespa came out with a statement that they don't know anything. They're basically not involved in any of the discussions right now. So it's been pretty interesting. Anyways, that's kind of quick background. But getting back to you, Richard.
This is all like really important lessons, I think, in IP management. It sounds kind of silly, but unfortunately, and this is like an all too common story that goes all the way down from like an individual little kid with a YouTube channel in Machinima all the way up to, I guess, businesses in Korea broadcasting League of Legends. It's really, really, really important. If you're doing something and you're investing a lot of time into something, you have to secure the rights in writing for what you're doing so that you guaranteed to know that the work that you're pouring into something, you have some kind of ownership or at least some kind of equity in whatever intellectual property you're developing. Because if you don't do that, what'll happen is anytime you're doing something outside of the bounds of like a written contract and a business notice is like, hey, you know what? Actually, there's some money to be made here. Or like, hey, you know what? We want this. You're fucked. You're so fucked. You're so fucked. Yep. And they will fuck you so hard and so fast and so violently if they think that they can take everything you have. If you don't have it in contract or writing first, you're so fucked.
But what choice do they have, Steven? I mean, it's not like Riot's going to sign.
Well, at this point, you
full
can't.
out. No, I'm just what I'm saying. Like even in the beginning, Riot's not going to sign anything.
You don't think in the beginning when Riot's? Well, I don't know, because a lot of people paint a picture of Riot in 2000 and like 2011, 2012 when the game was shit and nobody fucking knew about it. Riot had all sorts of broadcast partners. Riot was
they had
trying to get a league event at like an MLG. There were like all sorts of like different people that were working with Riot to broadcast their shitty little game that nobody knew about, nobody gave a fuck about, when Han was bigger than fucking League of Legends. Okay, they worked with all sorts of people, and then as it grew bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, Riot started to cut out every single fucking partner except for I think IEM, because IEM was like the only one that agreed that we wouldn't do Dota 2 as well, right? They started to fucking exclude everyone as soon as they started to get any traction. So everybody that took any risk on marketing the product originally had no payout at the end, because as soon as Riot saw it starting to get big, they fucked everybody and they kept all their shit for themselves. And like, I don't know, it just seems really fucked up. And maybe I could only be reading biased shit because I get everything from the little news stories and little comments and shit that I get on Reddit and whatnot, but it seems like that's kind of what happened in the Korean scene, where they're all of a sudden now there's like a decently kind of sort of built thing via OGN in Korea, and now Riot's like, hey, well, you guys did a good job, now we're going to go ahead and just take over all of this and then manage it 100% ourselves and give it to our partners, and fuck you. Like, I don't know, like, it seems
it's a sense, it's not quite to that degree where they're just literally taking it completely over, but
well, if they're dictating to you the percentage that you can manage it, then they're 100% taking it over. If they're dictating my terms to you, then you get whatever they decide to give you. Like, you've lost all rights to manage it or do anything on your own with it. Like,
I think the key thing here is as well, this was a move that people found. They'd registered the trademarks and the IP stuff, that they'd actually registered this in October.
The trademark is like
right. So I mean, this was a move that was like, it was always coming. They planned it out, and the idea that it was all one big coincidence, which again, Riot's favorite excuse whenever they're caught with their hands in the cookie jar, is that it's just a coincidence. I happened to put my hand in the cookie jar, not to steal a cookie, but there was a wasp in there, and I was trying to get it out. So if anyone else wanted a cookie, they wouldn't get stung. This is what Riot do. When they get caught like this, they say it's all a big fucking coincidence. And it's not a coincidence. Again, you've got to own the fucking business decisions, and you have got to be blunt in why you are applying these rules and these decisions to this particular business model. They haven't done that. They're not doing that. They're trying to frame it in a way that simply isn't believable to anyone with an ounce of intelligence. And I think that's super insulting. I mean, on top of that, to get back to Steven's point, which he's absolutely right, is the cutthroat and ruthless way that what they have done is they have created an artificial relevance for themselves by using and manipulating people who had existing esports products. They did it with DreamHack. They did it with MLG. They've done it with everybody. They did it with IEM, ESL. And of course, even on a very smaller level, individual streamers and everything else. They've leveraged everybody. And then as soon as the product was at a stage where people had its own interest and it was snowballing, they started to dictate terms to everyone. They said to tournament organizers, no more Dota 2, no more games we ever consider to be a rival. When people refused to acquiesce to that, they withdrew their product. Yeah. And yet here they are, and somehow they've managed to convince everybody that they invented esports in its current form. Well, what they actually did was they fucked over and cuckolded companies that genuinely had a claim to saying that they built esports. People like your DreamHacks and your fucking ESLs, who were around before fucking Riot had any status whatsoever. And here they've done it again with the Korean region. The region that sets the highest standard of play, the region that has the highest standard of broadcast, and they've allowed them to build it up, create this phenomenon, and now they're taking it away and they're going to try and run with it themselves, convinced in their delusional arrogance that they're going to be able to do as good a job. So fuck them. I mean, it's a disgrace what they've done.
It's really sad because, I guess League is really popular, but there have been, unfortunately, kind of like Richard said, where that whole like, oh well, it's just a coincidence. This is just how we do things. Like there just been too many little scenarios popping up like this with Riot. Like you remember when they were, remember when they caught all that flack because they were trying to get streamers not to stream other games.
Yeah.
If they were like on LCS teams or whatever, like
Hearthstone was the flashpoint.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
Hearthstone was the reason too.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I mean, and again, it's hilarious.
They
I mean,
denied that though. They didn't.
Yeah, they denied that happened. They said it was an old draft of the contract. The existing contract that LCS players were signing as of the start of this year had that fucking clause in it. So I got no idea where they're pulling that shit from. But I mean, look, this tells you all you need to know about Riot in a fucking nutshell, right? So everyone remembers IPL 5, right? It was like a fucking great tournament. Like nobody had ever seen anything like it at the time it was done. It had some fucking amazing games. It was just like the fucking balls. Like it was at the time, it was sort of the pinnacle of League of Legends. Everyone remembers it fondly anyway. It's what I'm driving at. Now, whereas everybody in the League of Legends community, and indeed everybody in esports, looked over at that and said, "Wow, look at that production value. Look at that standard. Look at all those teams that are competing. Holy fucking shit! Maybe we could do this all the time. Wouldn't that be awesome? That is so good. Well done, IPL." Right? Instead of Riot joining in and saying, "Yeah, our game that we created." With a scene that we helped snowball has led to that. They were seething about it, absolutely seething, because it was an event that was done better and to a standard that they didn't feel they would be able to replicate. And they were so bitter and fucked up about it, they thought it made them look bad. So it's no coincidence that happened at the back end of December 2012. By January 2013, they were announcing that actually we're going to start controlling all of our shit now, and we're going to license out LCS games. Nothing could overshadow their fucking product. They would not allow it. They would not allow it because they cannot understand that the greater glory is the game itself. You make the game, you throw it out to community, and it's them. It's the community. It's the tournament organizers with experience that make it into something amazing. Riot cannot have that. They will not have themselves overshadowed by anybody. And that's all you need to know about them. I mean, the fact that is inarguably true based on the facts as they're fucking laid out, that just shows what a fucking disgusting bunch of children they all are.
So let's compare this to what was going on with StarCraft, right? Before with Kespa. And, with StarCraft and Blizzard definitely took more of a hands-off approach. And then, after Kespa started really created basically the esport, and Korea being basically the focal point of it. And they had a lot of power because of it, right? Because they owned all the players, they had the league and everything. That's where it kind of ran into some issues with Blizzard. And Blizzard basically didn't like that. And just to really sum it up briefly, they didn't like that. And so there was a lot of battles there in regards to that. Is Riot's approach to all this based on that precedent?
Well, I mean, apparently, I don't even know why I bother saying this, because apparently it's fucking impossible, but you could take, a moderate approach. Like, nothing is wrong with the company wanting to retain some rights to the broadcast, wanting to have some influence. Mm-hmm. It's just like, Kespa was an example of being in the extreme of the other direction, right? And Riot is the example of being the extreme of the other direction of the right. They're opposites of one another. I mean, I don't think either one is necessarily the best solution. There has to be some meeting point in the middle, I would imagine. I would hope that there's some moderate point where the company does retain some rights to broadcasting and has influence over the broadcasters, but the broadcasters are allotted the freedom to do what they want and can reap some of the rewards of taking risks and building scenes and getting that financial benefit for themselves. So I mean, I don't know, like I said, I would hope that there's a middle way meeting somewhere there.
Yeah, I mean, look, I agree with you. This is the problem with Riot, though. They don't understand moderation. They don't, and they never have, and they've never been able to just look at something and go hey, maybe if we didn't control it, something could out of that chaos something good could come of it. Let's just take a step back and just be hands off and see what happens. They are the ultimate helicopter parents. They just hover over their fucking product and will not allow it to grow in a new or exciting way. They will not do it. You contrast that to Valve. Valve make a game, they just stand back, right? What's going to happen now? Hey, people are talking about this. What if there was a way pro players could get paid? That'd be cool, actually. Didn't we do something on TF2? Well, let's see if we can rework it. And now you're getting merchandise, and now we got stores, and now we got microeconomies. Hey, that's pretty cool. Well, I guess we should control it because there's loads of money involved. Nope. All we're going to do is just take the bigger percentage. Like, that's fine. And we'll keep coming up with shit, and you can keep suggesting shit. And all we care about is the bottom line, is the money keeps flowing in, and we get to see a bunch of cool stuff. And that's all they want. It's like putting stuff in a Petri dish and seeing what's going to grow. Riot can't do that. They will not do that. Historically, they've never done it. If they cannot control something absolutely 100%, they are not interested in working with it. They're not it has to be controlled, or they simply will not allow it to flourish in any way, shape, or form. And in fact, will actually go the other way and try and stamp it out, even if it's fundamentally a good thing. That's always been their mantra. And I tweeted about this on the day all of this was announced. Have people forgotten this is a company that have historically always played dirty? Always. They have no endearing qualities whatsoever when it comes to the business side of promoting their game. We've already talked about how they try to drive out Dota 2 by blackmailing tournament organizers and saying, we need exclusivity. This is why you can't have a Dota 2 at an IEM. You can't have that because that's Riot's politics in place. But it doesn't end there. This is the same company who has filed like nuisance patents for spectator mode, which don't benefit anyone in the greater good. This is a company that actually, when Valve and Blizzard had a legitimate legal conflict over the intellectual property behind Defense of the Ancient / Dota 2, Riot came in and filed a nuisance fucking counterclaim just to say, hey, maybe we own part of Defense of the Ancient. It's just a fucking delay a competitor getting out there and being established and not having problems. They are a piece of shit company, and they have always been that way. And this shouldn't surprise anyone. They're happy to cannibalize their own product and make it worse just so they can control it. That's all you need to know about them.
It's definitely true. I mean, at least that's what it looks like to me also. Steven, you did bring up a point like, 10, 15 minutes ago about, you insinuated at least that OGN should have, gotten Riot to sign gotten to sign a contract so they wouldn't be in this situation or something like that. So I was trying to get at before is that, there's no way they would have signed a contract. Riot wouldn't have allowed that to happen. So do you blame OGN for, really going further and developing, a product knowing that this day could eventually happen? I'm sure in the back of their heads, they've known this day could, possibly happen, especially the more successful LCK has gotten over time. They've seen it. They've seen it happen before in other esports. So do you blame OGN for doing this? Really?
Because that's like a question that you can only answer yourself. I can't answer. Is it worth it to? Well,
you were insinuating that people should sign contracts and all this crap before. So it's just,
in my opinion, you should. But if it's not possible, then it's a matter of sacrifices, right? Musicians have the capability to go on tour and do tons of things with their music, but they have to sell the rights to the music to record labels in order to do it. Is it worth it to lose the right to your creation? I don't know. It's. Did they really try hard to secure rights to doing everything, or was it like one of those things where you just assumed that everybody would be nice about it, or did they try to secure rights and they weren't able to, or did they not even bother and just think that nothing? I don't know. It's hard, it's impossible for me because I don't have like a line to OGN.
All right, so follow-up question: was it worth it to OGN? Even
I can't answer that. I don't know.
No, what do you guys think? No,
did the people?
What do you guys think?
Feel like that something good came of it? Did they build something from it? The public seems to be on their side. So
look, here's the reality, right? So, what Riot Games have done is, the phase one when they were growing, I don't think they ever had any notions that they would get so big. They obviously employed a series of dirty, underhand tactics, which again starts with undermining Dota and rival games, bringing in talent from Dota and rival games, the whole Pendragon issue with the Dota forums, and then obviously basically highly incentivizing streamers, as well as, once they get a little bit of traction, they started to kind of bully and blackmail and cajole and coerce and all that just to cement their position. Once they got to a point where they were snowballing and everyone was talking about League of Legends, what they did was they got everybody hooked on League like the West is fucking hooked on oil and that's why we can't fucking get out from under countries like Saudi Arabia, who we don't want to have. We've got nothing culturally in common with, and if we had any sense, we'd be condemning everything they do domestically, but we can't because the West has a fucking fossil fuel dependency problem. And this is what they did with fucking everybody in League of Legends. Once you get hooked on traffic like you've never had, and you're a YouTuber and you're getting hits like you've never had, and once you're a league organizer like OGN, you've got a subscription model where you're getting more viewers than you've ever had, like for any other fucking game. Once all of these people are hooked on the game's success, they cannot be rational anymore about what is fair, what is reasonable, and everybody falls to fucking Riot. Everybody does it because you look at your bottom line and you think, man, without League of Legends, what the fuck am I going to do?
Exactly.
Why does every gaming organization have to have a League of Legends team? You know, they even say it now, which I don't even think is true, but people say it now. If you don't have an LCS team, you're not big in esports. It's that simple. Now we got all these millionaire, billionaire philanthropists in, right? Mm-hmm. League of Legends hooked everybody on the traffic it can deliver. If you're banned from the fucking subreddit, your views massively go down. Your relevance goes down. It may as well be the whole internet, I've heard people quoted as saying. So Riot have created this system where everyone is so fucking dependent because all of our revenue streams are all about popularity, effectively. They've created the most popular game, so now everyone fucking bends over and takes the fucking big red fist up the ass from Riot. That's what everybody does. And everyone's going to continue to do it until we smash the paradigm and a more fucking popular game comes along. So was it worth it for OGN? Abso-fucking-lutely. It had to be. It was worth it for everybody that's ever got into bed with Riot. If we're talking in purely financial terms, it's what you necessarily lose along the way or what you end up with when Riot decide to fucking flip the switch and can't just say, hey, we've had a good partnership. Let's keep it this way, 50-50. Let's grow the whole pie. They'll never do that. What they then say is, okay, it's our fucking game. We fucking made this. Fuck you. Now it's time. We get 80%, motherfucker. We're going to choke the life out of you. And in fact, no. Now we want to tell you which talent we can use in your broadcasts. And now we want you to do this and do that. And they're doing it with gaming organizations right fucking now. They're doing it with like the organizations, the brands that have helped fucking build League of Legends is a relevant thing. You know, it's unreal just the level of fucking short-sighted greed. It's disgusting. But that's pretty much what it all boils down to. There's no getting away from that. If anyone says differently, they're just full of shit. They can't be believed. That's exactly what happened.
So what's going to be the result of this, in y'all's opinion? I mean, is League of Legends going to get any less popular in Korea because of this?
I mean, the game is popular because a lot of people play it. I don't think the broadcasting might have an impact on the pro scene, but as long as the game is still popular to play or fun to play, like people will still play it.
The casters are still going to cast it, right? I mean, Monty and Doa will still cast this, even if they have to cast half of it, right?
On the OGN side?
Yeah.
I guess so. I mean, I don't know. It's not really for us to say. I would imagine so. I haven't heard any announcements to the contrary.
Yeah, well, I mean, there is some talk that they have. I've heard just the word hoping that they can continue casting it and that sort of thing. So I feel like there is a chance that they might not get to for whatever reason. I don't see why they if OGN at least has half of the broadcast, I could still see them because those are the main folks we want to see casting these games. Like I don't know who Spo TV is going to hire to cast their side of it, but right now for the most part we know that it's not Monty, Doa, and Pava. So. I don't know what that means. When I was watching Monty's video about it, and even just Doa's, just them saying that they hope they can still cast League of Legends, or at least they love that game and they want to be able to continue casting it for a while. It just made me think that there's a chance that they don't end up, having jobs to cast for some reason. That would be crazy for me, given that they're two of the best casters I think in the world right now.
I mean, they'll have people beating down their door to.
Well, I mean, they'll cast something else, but I'm just making sure that they cast League of Legends, though.
Yeah, but I mean, look. So here's the other thing. I mean, and Stephen will know this, and I'm pretty sure you'll know this. When Koreans lose their faith in something, if they feel that they haven't been looked after or given a particularly good deal, if they don't feel that they're kind of like. Almost fanatical devotion to esports is being recognized and rewarded as it should be. A Korean boycott's a fucking scary thing. I mean, they're more than capable of completely withdrawing and pulling out of support, and it could harm League of Legends in that region. And OGN, I mean, OGN have got cards to play, if you ask me. I don't think this is. They can make this far worse for fucking Riot than it necessarily has to be. And I'm sure Riot are very fucking mindful of that. Like, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if behind closed doors, now that this whole snowballing anger about what they're doing has come out, and it's like people are starting to get fucking, you know, red pilled and realize that Riot aren't like just some fucking, you know, super nice altruistic company like they always try and pretend they are. I'm pretty sure they'll try and come to some sort of resolution from a PR perspective while still getting what they want out of it. How that'll look, what that'll sound like, I don't know, but we'll know the bullshit when it arrives. But yeah, I think this could be potentially harmful. It's not like Korea couldn't get on board with another game. Like, please be fucking CS:GO. I'm not even joking.
No,
like, if OGM wanted to bring their fucking treatments to fucking CS:GO, if we wanted to start seeing CS:GO teams from Korea, that'd be fucking amazing. I'd love that. But obviously the game's not culturally as entrenched, you know?
It's a logical step for them, though. I mean, it's like League of Legends is by far, I think,
you've got stuff like Vainglory and stuff like that. I mean, even Overwatch has a better shout than CS:GO, I'd say.
Overwatch hasn't started yet, though, so
yeah,
it's.
But you know, I don't know if it would happen. I don't know if it would happen, but I'd love to fucking see it. Is all I'm saying. Like, if there was any way that we could just basically say, do you know what? Bring fucking Monty and Doa over. Sure, why the fuck not? Right? They'll pick it up, no problem. Yeah, you can hang out with Anderson Semmler and all the guys at the events, and James and DDK and boys like that. You'll have a great time. We'll just make fucking CS:GO the #1 game in the world. Fuck League of Legends. Have fun. You know what I mean? We're already on TV. We're already.
It's already on the way, anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, and Valve aren't a piece of shit company looking to fucking choke the life, no pun intended, out of anyone who doesn't want to fall in line and be fucking controlled by a company who, you know, all they really give a fuck about is the bottom line.
All right. Yeah, very true. We're gonna have to see how this plays out. I'm sure there's gonna be more news, and then
it ain't over by a long time.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot more news. So, you know, we'll hopefully those guys that want to be, you know, they want to stay there, like Monty and those guys, get a chance to do what they want to do. Okay, let's move. It kind
of makes sense. Like, if we really think about it, I guess, like, in looking at how I can kind of understand how Riot could take this approach. To dividing up the broadcasting rights, because if it's 50-50, then neither like broadcasting company is really winning in terms of the broadcasting rights. And since Easterners are okay with ties more than like people in North America, do you think they may be?
I mean, when